you're having a good day. Um, Lately I've been talking about writing, but today I'm going to take a break from talking about writing. And I'm gonna go back to some INFP stuff. So, sorry anybody who is interested in writing. If anybody even watched that, I don't know. But it's mostly because I'm an INFP, and let's be honest, I really do this because like it's good therapy for me to talk about stuff. So, but also hopefully this will like maybe resonate with other people too, who are INFPs or who can just like relate to this stuff. But I was gonna talk about why some people annoy INFPs. Like, what is it about some personality types that really annoy INFPs? Because it actually kind of takes a lot for the average INFP to become noticeably annoyed by someone. Because we're usually pretty, I would say we're pretty open to like all kinds of people. Although we are withdrawn because we're scared of being rejected, we still like most people. Like 98% of people, we are basically huge admirers of. It's just that we admire from afar because like we're afraid of getting too close and being too much and then getting rejected for being too much. So, yeah. But okay, anyway, the things that really annoy INFPs are, it boils down to, I think, two things. And of course, there may be others. Just add them in the comments, please, if I'm leaving them out. But for me, that I've noticed these two things. First of all, it's insincerity. And secondly, arrogance. And I've talked about this before because it's a really big deal for us INFPs. Um, and just dealing with that at my job every day, it's really, really difficult for me to even hear the voice of someone who has those two qualities. Like when I've interacted with a person who comes across as fake, and it's not just like it's okay to be fake sometimes. I think that's just it's a common human thing that we do. Like sometimes when we get nervous, we just maybe put on a smile and nod, or we say things we don't mean out of nervousness. That's totally understandable. I think we all do that sometimes. We're just a little bit awkward. But a person who is consistently fake and phony, like they will, like for instance, at my job, there are a couple of people who, when they get together, they laugh extra loud with each other. It's almost like they want everyone to know how much fun they're having. It's like they try to, it's like they're acting as if they're in a huge selfie. You know how there are some people who constantly post their selfies on Instagram because they want to look like they're having a great time all the time, even though they're really not. They're just like everybody else. I feel like that's what I'm watching happening at work. Like, someone makes a joke. It's not really that funny, but they laugh like extra loud and try to add on to the joke, but be even more clever. So they do all that, act like they're best friends with each other, but then as soon as those people leave, they're like whispering about them and talking about them behind their backs, and they're fake with each other. They're not real friends. And they do the same thing with me, except I don't even pretend to be their friend because I don't want to be friends with someone who's fake. Um, so that insincerity is something that really, really bothers me. Um, and the reason why is because it's all about trust. knowing who you can trust. Um, and this is a big deal for INFPs, but it's also a big deal, I think, for women in general. I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe that there are certain things that women especially look out for in their relationships with other human beings for their own safety. Um, Women subconsciously seem to look out for signs of danger from other people. You know how they say women's intuition? It's not really intuition. It's just a subconscious noticing of mannerisms, of telltale signs that someone is insincere, meaning that they're phony with you. That they'll say one thing and try to look like, oh, I'm a trustworthy guy, but you can just tell that they're not. Like they have an ulterior motive. That's something that women have to be especially conscious of for our own safety's sake, especially when we're dealing with men. So, I think being an INFP woman makes me especially sensitive to that. Um, Insincerity, like it makes me actually a little bit kind of afraid. Like to me, that's a sign of danger. If I don't want to hang out with anyone who I can't trust my life with. That may be a little bit extreme, but it's the truth. Like I just don't feel comfortable at all with people who say one thing to your face and then as soon as you turn around, they're they're saying what they really think about you. Um and like I said before, I know from time to time we all kind of like are a little bit fake or we might gossip a little bit here and there. That's not what I mean. But someone who's just consistently that way with everyone. To me, that's a dangerous person because if you had to go into battle with that person, they would use you as a human shield and they wouldn't care. They don't care about anyone except for themselves and looking good. And that is goes hand in hand with arrogance, which is another warning sign to me too. Like when someone is constantly bragging, um, someone who always has to be the center of attention, not just because they're a little bit broken and they need attention to feel whole, but when it comes from a place of something that's crueler, something that's not quite right. And I don't know how to put this into words really. I guess I should have thought of that before I started this video, but there's something about an attention needy person who is arrogant that just is a little bit scary to me. So anyway, when I'm around people like that, even just the sound of their voice, like when they come into the room and I hear them talking, I like, ugh, it gives me actual goosebumps and like my stomach will start to hurt. And I have to literally like put in headphones or something to like drown out their voice. That's how much it bothers me. And I remember like at first I thought that my reaction was weird and I was like, is something wrong with me? Because most people don't react this way when they're around someone who they just don't like. Because that reaction is really extreme. But I did some reading and apparently that is an INFP tendency because we're so sensitive that even just hearing the voice of someone um, who bothers us, who bothers our, I guess someone who gives us a negative feeling, just the sound of their voice, it really gets under our skin and makes us very uncomfortable. And I do think that goes back to what I said earlier about people, especially women in general, but also sensitive people, looking for signs of danger in others. And when they see a sign of danger, it makes them like, oh, that that fight or flight thing comes to the fore. And for me, that is flight. Like, I want to get the heck away from that person. Like today, there's this guy at my job who I really, I just can't be around him. And I was talking to someone else, and he started walking up, and without even thinking, I'm like, getting out of there. Um, and there are just, there are a couple people at my job like that, and I feel like every time I turn around, one of them is there. It's just kind of, it's nerve-wracking. So yeah, it can be difficult for INFPs to navigate a world in which you have to be around people who you see something in them that a lot of other people don't, or either don't care about. Like, they pretend to ignore it sometimes. Oh yeah, they're a little prejudiced, or oh yeah, they're kind of arrogant. Yeah, they're a little bit narcissistic. But an INFP will see those same things and notice that they are signs of danger. Like, it's not good to hang around with people who you can't trust, because you never know when you'll be in a situation where you have to be able to trust the person you're with. Um, and I think that's why INFPs choose their friends so carefully, because we want to know that whoever we're hanging around with has our back as much as we will have their back. And I hope I probably sound a little bit self-righteous right now. It's not like we're perfect or anything. God knows we have our faults, such as being like we're not the best communicators, as you can tell from the halting way that I speak. Um, and when we do try to communicate, it's either too much sometimes or it's not enough. So yeah, I mean, we have our flaws too, but those two things, insincerity and arrogance, they really do get under our skin. And if you're like me and you hear the voice of someone who has those two qualities, and they're like walking up or something and they're talking and you just get like a shudder and you can't stand the sound of their voice, you're not weird. You're just an INFP. That is probably what that means. So don't freak out. Apparently we have an allergic reaction to villains. Okay, I'm gonna stop rambling now. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.